Here with me today is Markus Deutsch, Managing Director of the Austrian Advertising Association and the Österreichische Werberat, Austria's Advertising Self-Regulation Council. Markus, could you tell a little bit about what your organization does and also how you relate to the EASA?
Hello, Edith. The Austrian Advertising Council was founded in 1974. Members of the Austrian Advertising Council are representatives from the media, from the Austrian industry, from the advertisers and the Austrian agencies. Our purpose is to guarantee the freedom of advertising and to raise awareness in the field of ethics and morals in the advertising world. For Austria, it's very, very important to be part of an international network. So the Austrian Advertising Council was one of the founding members of EASA in 1992. And I am a member of the board of the directors of EASA.
Mm-hmm. Could you give us a brief on how self-regulation works in Austria, how it is structured?
In Austria, the advertising world is characterized by the so-called dual system, or what we call a dual system. That means one very important part of the advertising world in Austria are regulations, acts, laws stipulated or passed by the Austrian government and the parliament. The other, second, also very important part is the so-called self-regulation system, and in Austria the Austrian Advertising Council is the responsible self-regulation authority regarding advertising.
So, Markus, would you say that the Austrian Self-Regulation Council plays a major part in politics in Austria?
Yes, of course. In 2008, the European Commission came out with a new directive covering all electronic media, the so-called Audiovisual Media Service Directive, or in short form AVMS Directive. And in this directive, the European Commission encourages the governments to promote self-regulation in the field of advertising. And when this EU directive was implemented into national Austrian law, the Austrian Advertising Council played a major role in the political negotiations. And for us, it was a huge success that when the AVMS directive was implemented into national Austrian law in the so-called AVMS Act, that it stipulated in the law that the Austrian Advertising Council is the self-regulation authority in Austria.
Okay, and what forms of advertising does self-regulation comprise?
We cover all kinds of media. That means we are covering the print sector, magazines, newspapers, electronic media, like TV and radio, outdoor advertising, billboards, and of course we're also covering digital.
Digital. Let's talk about self-regulation in digital advertising. What challenges do you face there?
More than 5 years ago, we implemented the EASA best practice guidelines on digital marketing into our national system. That means we are covering all kinds of digital media. The new challenges we have to face, because advertising has no age and advertising has no borders, is to also covering so-called new responsibilities and new tasks for our organization. I'm talking about how to guarantee the very high standard in Austria regarding consumer protection and data protection.
So you will probably also be required to have a lot of new competences.
That's correct. This is one of the main tasks we have to face, as I said before, because advertising in the digital world knows no borders. We have to be very responsible regarding on advertising or protection of minors, protection of youth, and this we have there in this field we have very, very new challenges to face.
One of the tasks of EASA is to raise awareness for ethics in advertising. And I believe about 4 years ago they introduced the educational module 0. Could you tell me a little bit about this module?
In 2008-2009, together with our international colleagues, we launched, as you called, the so-called Module 0. 3 Austrian universities participated in this program, and the idea behind is to raise awareness in the field of ethics and morals in the advertising world to students, to pupils, and together with colleagues from international associations, experts from the Austrian advertising world and the media world, we are holding lectures and gave lessons to students in 3 universities in Austria.
I believe this Module 0 was just a trial version. Yes. Is that right? So will there be a final version?
Yeah, we were very lucky that we launched this program in 2008 and 2009 in Austria. In the meantime, we have gathered a lot of experience or more experience, and together with the EASA Secretariat and with external experts, we are preparing an extended version, so to say, which is called the 3E module. And the greatest advantage of this new educational program is to cover, as we say, both worlds. The professional worlds, I only say lifelong learning, and also, of course, covering the education of young professionals in high schools and universities and in educational institutions.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say, how is this related to what you call the moral compass mindset?
It is...
Why is this important?
Very important because what we like about the 3E module is that we can provide special lessons to professionals, to students, how advertising has developed for the past decades. So that means we are covering the moral compass, which applies to the classic media, as we call it, to print, to magazines, radio and TV. And of course, it is very important to also have a moral compass in the digital world.
And when this new 3E module is complete, how will you implement it in Austria?
For us, it is very important to provide to Austrian companies and to Austrian students and universities an international acknowledged education program. This is the basis for our project. And what our challenges and our tasks are in the near future, so to say, to come up with an Austrian version of this 3E module. That means that we provide booklets, books, literature regarding this 3E module in German for the Austrian market and for Austrian universities, and also add Austrian campaigns, Austrian ads, Austrian commercials to this 3E module. And so to say, for us it is very, very important to have a very professional educational program which covers the lifelong learning for professionals and also the education of young professionals, and so to say to have an international background with the basics of the 3E module and together with typical Austrian advertising issues and laws and campaigns.
So if we sum it up, we can say this is a very sophisticated module compared to the Module 0.
That's correct. It's a very sophisticated program. It's a very advanced program, thanks to Dr. Arthur Bober, who was responsible for working on this program and writing this program. This is really a leading program on an international basis, and we are really looking forward to implement this international program in Austria.
Well, then I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the interview.